Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome to the Manifestation Queen podcast, your filter-free and uncensored source for all things manifestation. I'm Cassie MacKenzie, and I'm a manifestation expert. I'm here to raise your vibes and your cash flow. Listen, I've manifested everything from a beer, a six-figure salary, my husband, and homes, and more. And I am spilling everything I can on this podcast so you can learn how you can do the same. The more fun I have, the more manifestations appear, and the more money I make. So it's my obsession to show you how you can be, do, and have anything you want. So join the movement to raise your income and your impact on this world. Become a manifestation queen and create a life that feels like a vacation. Let's do the damn thing. Hello and welcome back to the 2022 season of the Manifestation Queen podcast. All right, let's get into it. So I have to say first though, this episode is a couple weeks late for a couple of reasons. We came home from our Costa Rica trip, and although we tested negative for COVID when we left the country, or we came into the country on the 1st of January, we all ended up getting sick that next week. And my husband was the one that tested positive for COVID. It also coincided with us going up to, we couldn't stay at a hotel because we had COVID, right? And so we went to our house that we have up in St. Augustine that my renter just moved out of. And it was, that's a whole nother story in itself. But we spent 5 days, including my husband's 40th birthday, cleaning this house and prepping it to put it on the market. Because let me tell you what, it was disgusting. I have never in my life seen a place so gross and so disheveled, and it was heartbreaking because I love this place. It was where we had Stella. It's where, the first house Ian bought ever as a South African, and it's very near and dear to our hearts. It's a very, very special place, but we have decided to sell it. And anyway, by the time we got back, then I got sick for a week, and we've been just up and down everywhere. And so that's why I'm sitting down now to record this episode for you guys. So happy 2022. Okay, so when I left off back in 2021, we were heading off onto our Costa Rican vacation. And if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, then you notice that, or you already know that we had a series of mishaps that is fit for Clark Griswold movie, National Lampoon's Costa Rican Vacation. I swear to God. And I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get into some of the funny things and not so funny things that happened, because I think that there's a lot of lessons in here. There's a lot of really great manifestation things that can be shared in this, but I'm also I want it to be a complete thing. And so I'm working out the details of how I'm going to be sharing all of this with you guys, but stay tuned. I swear it's going to be awesome and you're going to get a kick out of it. I promise. But before I release those episodes, I just think the overall theme made me want to do a podcast episode about this, because with manifestation, just creating your life and following these principles and everything that I talk about, whether it's creating money or creating love or creating this dream life that you've always dreamed of having, or dream business, or, basically cutting out the bullshit. So over the time that we were gone, what I'll say is from the minute, day two of our trip, seemed to be going pretty well up until about 8 o'clock in the morning. And from then on, there was mishap after mishap after mishap. And I swear I've never cried so much on a vacation in my life. And believe me, I know a lot of things go right for me a lot of the time. And I'm very flexible. And I think like the most flexible one wins. Like if you followed me in my journey with learning about NLP and being an NLP practitioner through Transformed Destiny, and if you've ever thought about, getting certified in NLP, you can follow the link that's in my show notes and find out more about it. But Transformed Destiny was where I learned about NLP, and it has transformed the way that I look at my life and the way that I look at my like quote unquote problems that arise. Because the interesting thing, and I'm like such a dork when it comes to like wanting to learn more about like human behavior and human nature and like the psychology of why people do what they do. But what interests me the most is the difference between somebody who is super successful and is a happy, successful person. And by success, I mean like you get what you want, all right? That's how I define success. Like you ultimately get what you want. You achieve what you want to achieve, whether that is something that is material or some sort of material success or some sort of like emotional feeling that also you achieve. To me, that's the next level fucking A. When you not only get what you want in a material way, but like you get what you want and you feel really good about it, like that is where the vibe is. So, because there's a lot of people out there that I come in contact with, that I've actually worked with in the past, that I've hired to work with and then learned more about afterwards, or like had certain circumstances happen afterwards. But the thing that I notice is people who literally live life in a way that they are able to lead themselves, like be the source of leadership in their own life, right? Like where so like you not only recognize where things have gone wrong, because I think we're pretty good at noticing that, but you're also giving yourself credit when things go right. And when things don't go so right, though, you're able to not put the blame on external circumstances, and you're able to take responsibility for whatever the fuck is happening. And that is the mark of a true leader in my mind. And, it doesn't matter if anybody's watching or anybody's looking, you're doing the right thing in alignment with your values and with everything behind the scenes. And handling situations with grace in as much as you can. Believe me, I'll be the first to admit, like, I freak the fuck out sometimes, right? Like, I don't always have the level of grace, but I'll tell you what, it's better than it ever was, like, before, and it keeps getting better and better and better. And so, but along those same lines, like, you can't just sit there and expect everything to go right all the time and then freak out like a baby and act like, a crazy person when things don't go so right. But also being able to shift out of this victim mentality and into the I'm going to get it done one way or another type of, thing. That is like a powerful trait to have and to cultivate. So we're going to be taking this podcast to the next level here in 2022, because I've felt a huge shift over the last couple months. And it wasn't anything that I made a point to shift. I think it's like me there's a couple things here. First, me recognizing how much I've already accomplished and giving myself credit for, what's already out there in a way that I had never been before. I had found myself looking up to mentors and like putting them on a pedestal and making it seem like they're so much better than me just because they'd made X amount of money or whatever and wanting to be more like them. But I can solidly say, fuck that, because there's a lot of people who make a lot of money out there who I don't want to be anything like. Their lives are complete wrecks behind the scenes. They don't actually have like the inner like poise. They can't even like admit when they're wrong or admit what, they admit when they're right, but like they don't share the part about like, oh, I might have been wrong in this situation. And so it's just really, really funny, because what I've noticed is like once I started giving myself credit for what I've created already, where I've gotten myself to, even given all of the adversity in my life, like growing up with a dad that went to federal prison when I was like 3 or 4 years old, who like smuggled drugs into the US, who barely has been part of my life, like in and out of my life when he wants to be, to, growing up with a stepfather and having two younger brothers that were, half brothers. So I kind of felt like kind of alone in terms of like, just being like, I felt like an only child, right? I felt like an only child, and then found out even more stuff about who my real dad actually was. So gave me 3 dads, right? So a lot of these things I haven't like always talked about. And I'm going to be probably talking about a lot more because I really don't give a shit what people think. And I think there's a lot of people out there who like suffer in the silence and feel like they can't be good enough ever because they are not as perfect as these fucking people that they see online, and it's bullshit. So, if I can do it and I can go through, like a lot of, abuse of different forms, but also, growing up and being successful, like pushing myself to be successful, and going through a divorce, and then going through this like period of my 20s where I partied my ass off and did a bunch of drugs and was like very promiscuous, but I had so much fun. Like, I mean, I can't be mad at myself for it. But, there's a lot of things there that, if you put them out on paper, they make a really great Bravo reality TV program, right? Or they'd make a great made for TV movie, or even like maybe a blockbuster. But the point is, like, all of these experiences have led me to where I am today. And to me, I look at them as pretty basic compared to what I've gone through and what I've created on my own, right? So that was part one, but also setting bigger goals, having bigger standards, and recognizing that if I am a self-made millionaire, I have to have some sort of higher standard for myself than making myself feel like shit when my business isn't making X amount of dollars every month, right? Because other businesses that I have are. And that being a match for money and abundance is internal job, right? And it's an internal job, and it's a lot of times recognizing all the ways that you're abundant already. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are really trying to crack the code. And let me tell you, step one of cracking the code isn't making an abundance and gratitude list around what you're looking around your room and seeing right now. It's sitting by yourself and recognizing, what have you already accomplished? Like, what can you be grateful for right now about where you've been and what you've done and what you've accomplished? And like, in what ways are you personally, you feel like you are abundant yourself in what you have inside of you already? That's the magic. So I tell you this to tell you this, because our trip to Costa Rica was definitely not a vacation. Like, I worked my ass off last year. I was so ready, like in December, so ready to just like go sit on a beach and be relaxed the whole time. And it was like no part of that. It just felt like work the whole entire time. There was just all this shit that happened. And I'm going to share that with you in another podcast episode. Like I said, I think I'm going to break it up into maybe 2 or 3 episodes. But, not everything's going to go perfect, right? But this was like next fucking level, you guys. Like, and I'm still dealing with it today. Like, there are still things that are outstanding that are, that I'm dealing with in this moment. And, they'll all get taken care of one way or another. Believe you me. I'm going to share with you like all of my biggest tips for traveling and what I will absolutely not ever leave home without again. And it's not a passport, it is something else. So if you guys like traveling like we do, you're going to be getting a whole lot of great tips, because I am a friggin' master at this point in a whole new level. Also though, the way I look at it is in setting like higher goals for myself, right? Like, instead of being like, I want to be a millionaire, and then like, I'm actually a millionaire already, right? I want to build this $10 million, this $1 billion vision, like moving towards billions of dollars, right? Because, that's what I like, it's all available for us at any given point, right? And I'll tell you, like, if you're going to make a bold statement like that and put yourself out there and really lay claim to these huge, big fucking desires that you have, you've got to be willing to hold everything that comes along with it. So instead of looking at our vacation as like, oh, well, there goes that chance, there goes that money, there goes, our one time away, like I started looking at it like, why is this happening? Why is all of this shit happening? And the message I kept getting like internally was like, you know, you got to be able to hold all of it. You got to be able to hold all of the things that's happening right now, because your vision is so big that, you know, having these blips in the road is going to happen. It's going to happen with a big vision like that. It's not the comfort zone. And in order for it to just feel like, you know, not a big deal, like you've got to start having practice at dealing with these sorts of things and fixing the problems as they happen, right? So, and I'm going to be letting you guys in on way more detail about what exactly did happen, but I just saw it as like this is some great big bright lights towards like a serious fucking up level that I'm in the process of starting and in the process of going through. Because, you know, millionaires don't cry over like $1,000 worth of luggage that's lost, right? Millionaires don't give a shit. They're like, fuck it, I'll go buy whatever I want, right? For example. And so that's what we did. And, you know, but people who are living in a broke mindset are going to freak out, right? And ruin their vacation and fuck the whole thing up and not let their family do anything cool, right? But instead, we did not do that. We went and took care of, got whatever we wanted to get. We went and did whatever we wanted to do. We went and got whatever food we wanted to get. And, you know, that's why this is why you cultivate an abundance mindset. This specific example is exactly why you have to have an abundant mindset, because you know that whatever you do and whatever you spend is going to be returned back to you tenfold, maybe 100-fold, and that it's not a big deal. So I'm going to leave you with that. That's how I'm kicking off 2022. Stay tuned for the episodes where I dive deep into our, our vacation. And only because like there are some amazing things that happen that are huge lessons. There's a lot of times heartbreaking things, but also some things that just made me cry so many tears of joy. And I want to be able to share this with you so that you can up-level the fuck out of your mindset too. Okay? Cheers to 2022 being the most abundant year ever. And I can't wait to see what you guys all create. Ciao. Thanks a million for choosing to push play on another episode of the Manifestation Queen podcast. You truly amazed me. And if this episode blew your mind, then please leave a 5-star rating and a quick review on iTunes so more people like you can become manifestation queens too. See you next time.